So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our Atmakaraka video of Sun as your Atmakaraka in the seventh house of your birth chart. Okay, this is different from just Sun being in the seventh house because now Sun is the Atmakaraka. We know Sun is a soul significator, Atmakaraka, right? Soul significator for everybody. Okay, that's what Sun is. Your Sun sign represents that soul's journey. But the thing is, when Sun has the highest degree in your birth chart, and I know many people comment about Rahu, Ketu, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. We don't include that. At least I don't. Certain folks will even include Rahu as the Atmakarka. I only use the 7 Karka system. So that means if Sun has the highest degree, as close to 30th degree possible, and if in your particular case Sun is showing as Atmakarka, then it's the Atmakarka. And the way to find out is you can either use any app where it can show you your Karkas, or you can just go to kairosastrology.com under shop section where you'll get your astrological report and along with my consultations and all the things that you will see there. So you'll see in your Jaimini section, Jaimini, Jaimini section, that who's the AK. The symbol is AK, Atmakarka. Like BK is Bhatrikarka, AMK is Amatyakarka, DK is Dharakarka. Planet with the lowest degree. So the highest is the Atmakarka, which in case I'm discussing about Sun. So when Sun is in the 7th as the Atmakarka, you will see for this individual, I don't care how bad the 7th house is. You can have Sun, Mars, Rahu, Sun, Mars, Ketu, Mercury in the 7th. For this person, their entire being is about connecting with that other person. For them, relationship is what makes them feel complete. No matter where they are, they will always be thinking about whether if they're in their 20s or 30s, they're single, their main aim is going to be, when will I find that person? When will I be with that person? For them to have somebody with them becomes that light of the Sun. Okay, and this is why Sun in the 7th house, known as a malefic position of the Sun. Okay, because it's going to be unbearable for a person to deal with the ego of the other person, to deal with the commanding nature of the other person. In certain cases, Sun Mars can make this person so commanding they don't even realize that I am this dominating. But for them, even excluding all these factors, for them, their marriage and their focus on relationship becomes that fulfillment of the soul. No matter, even when this person is married, if Sun is not Atmakarka, this person will be like, I'm not interested. I can't stand my spouse. There's too much ego things. I want to leave. When Atmakarka is there, they'll be like, regardless of how my spouse is, I've got someone. I can come home to someone. I'll do my best to improve this particular position. And of course, on the other hand, with the 7th house Sun, for this individual, since they're taking on the energy of Venus, at the same time, energy of Mercury in the 7th, business, and dealing with people on one-on-one relationship is what makes them feel complete. That they feel like something is happening inside me that shows me that I am completing a certain task, certain mission of my life. They're like, yeah, this is it. So especially if, let's say, somebody is in a job, it's not like every Atmakarka and the 7th house person will be capable of doing a business or will have the combination of doing business. But what happens in this particular person's case is that if they get a work, they get a job where their job is to satisfy that one individual in front of them. This is where then they can feel like, you know what, this is actually the work that I wanted to do. Doesn't matter, you could be in IT. For example, lot of times, people who are in IT sales, where they have to take some cloud computing, AI computing, generative, you know, thing, a project or a service that we can do this for you, we can provide this for you, and we can automate this thing for you. For them, when they connect with that person and they sit across the table, that I'm working for this company, this is the product, here I'm talking to you, this is where they're going to feel like, now I am working, now I'm at work. But if they're, let's say, in an environment of just dealing with normal desk job and dealing with the office politics, having to deal with the team, now they will feel uncomfortable. They will feel irritated. They're like, then they will, and they may not know that this is exactly what I want, what I'm describing. Sometimes a person is confused, like, why is it that this is not something I want to do, what is it that I want to do? Sometimes these particular awakening comes later in life. If, let's say, for example, Saturn transits over your sun with this particular position as your Atmakaraka, only then you realize that, oh, this is how I need to operate. Maybe accidentally your company said, can you just take care of this, because everybody who was supposed to deal with this project is not here, is sick. We have to get this meeting going. Since you've been working on it, can you go and do it? And they're like, I don't know, I've never done this. But then they go. They sit in front of the person, and suddenly now the Atmakaraka is in its own environment. Because 7th house is what? A marriage. Right? It's the house of marriage. It's that confined space between you and that legal partner. Okay, many may not call it lover. That would be the 5th house, but it's you and that partner. Now, when you go to work and you have to take on this emergency task, you're sitting in front of the other individual, and suddenly you feel like this is exactly what needs to be working, and suddenly the words will come out in a way where even if, let's say, they don't get that project, they'll be like, wait a second, this type of work is far more conducive with my consciousness than me just dealing with that coding and that project on the desk that I'm doing. Somehow I enjoyed talking to this person and trying to convince this person, because of course some things may not happen the first time, second time, third time, but you realize that I'm growing in this. Why? Because I'm finally understanding who am I as the Atmakaraka. I'm either here to deal with that one-on-one relationship of marriage, or one-on-one relationship of business partnership, one-on-one relationship of the customer. So this is where they tend to feel the most comfortable. This is where they will tend to feel the most comfortable. Like, even, let's say you even take a movie actor. You take a big star movie actor with Atmakaraka sun in the 7th house. They will usually go for roles that are all about commitment to the marriage. It needs to be about relationship and love and marriage. Or they need to have a mission. They have to convince this one other person to do something. This is where their best acting role will come out. Because here, like I said, 7th house has that energy of Mercury and Venus both. The air element of Mercury and then that water element of Venus. This is where naturally, if the soul is in its own compound, soul is in its own domain, the other foundation of these other two planets of Venus and Mercury naturally begin to help them, even if your Mercury is debilitated. Like I said, there are circumstances where, you may not be able to make it to the top, even if you're doing this right work, but you will feel like this is something that I just feel more comfortable doing. This is why when you see Sun in the 7th house, that commanding nature is not a commanding nature most of the time. Commanding nature is, look, I'm paying attention to this marriage. I'm paying attention to you. What are you doing? Where are you going? Who are you talking to? What is your situation here? Yet the other person is really looking at this as a dominating factor. And I'm not saying you won't get abusiveness from this particular position of the sun in the 7th house, where you could be very abusive. But the first thought, before the other planets are now changing all those, is that I need to protect this person. This is my kingdom. See, wherever sun is, that's where sun's domain is. That's where sun's base is. Now, when it comes to astrology, one thing I've figured out, very simple. You can take a planet in one sign in the 7th house, and I may never even talk about sun in the 7th house. I may talk about all the other things that are happening, and it'll be like, this is correct. How is this happening with sun in the 7th house? Because I'm not even paying attention to sun in the 7th house. I just know sun in the 7th house, but I'll be talking about some other house. 10th house, 2nd house, 12th house, 3rd house. That's actually the real magic of astrology. You don't even use the planets in their position. You use that position as the base, and everything else is now around it. So this is the Atmakaraka main purpose, in your chart, especially as the sun. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of sun in the 7th house as your Atmakaraka. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss this type of video. So if you want to know where your sun is placed along with the astrological details, check out the links here. CuriousAstrology.com. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.